guys, welcome back to the channel, or welcome if you. My name's Heather, I'm a queer author of dark fantasy, and this is going to be a Preptober or a prepping for Preptober video. So I'd love to share my 5 tips with you I have that will make your organising of book ideas as well as NaNoWriMo and Preptober a lot more easy. So grab yourself a drink and a notebook, and I'd love to see you come through and tell me your thoughts as well. So what this is it is prepping for Preptober. So I know that I'm a bit ahead of the game, putting up some NaNoWriMo related content at the sort of 2/3 of the way into September. But this is a good, I find that this is a good diving off point into where I was going to go and how I'm organising myself. So I thought I'd share these tips with you as well to see if these either help you or you have any other ideas. My first step is choosing your story. I know that's the big thing. In case you don't know what NaNoWriMo is, it stands for the National Novel Writing Month, where you try and write 50,000 words in November. But I know this video is in September. 50,000 words in a month is really big of a commitment, so we need to sort of get ourselves ready the best way we can. So there's a lot of that goes into how to choose your book idea. So first of all, if you are a pantser and you just want to sit down on the 1st of November and let the words flow, that is totally up to you, and that is totally a valid way of doing NaNoWriMo. I tried that in 2019 and I have found my journey from being an absolute pantser to where I am now. It's taken me 2 years, but this is how I organize myself. If you'd like me to go through my sort of outlining, plotting sort of evolution, please let me know down in the comments and I'll do that. But basically you need to choose a book idea or a story idea that feels fresh to you. And it's something that you know that will excite you for a long time. You're going to be sitting with it for like 18 months minimum if you are self-publishing, sort of to go through all the editing and the prep to get it ready. Or querying, you could be with it for a lot longer, so you really want it to be something you're excited about. So the sort of ideas that you need to come up with are things like your setting. Whether or not you just have this idea of a setting in your head that really excites you, you need to build around that with your characters, or it's a genre. Or one of my favorite ones, and it has come up a few times, and that's what's led to the Twisted Garden Saga creation. That is the dark fantasy series I'm going to be focusing on for a while, because I have quite a few books and ideas for that, is what if blank. So my first one is, what happens if one of the Greek myths was a female-female romance and it is a mashup with another story? What happens if Snow White didn't eat the apple? What happens if Spider-Man gave in to Venom? Sort of those what if story questions. I know I'm using pop culture, but think about like what if stories that really excite you, and then you can move forward with your ideas and your premise. And it needs to feel fresh. You then need to, so that's sort of the first 2 sort of tips together. And then you need to think about the inherent challenges you're going to face. So things like research, your point of view that you're going to use, whether or not you're going to try and write it all in first person or if it's going to be third person, or the wonderful one of second person, which I've only ever dabbled in with short stories, just because I find it a very difficult one to keep my tenses and my point of views together. But I know that some people do it really well. There is Caroline Kepnes, who has written the You and Hidden Bodies books with Joe in them, that is a stalker who's sort of telling the story of stalking the reader, or it feels very much like you're in the head of someone else watching you behave. The other one is genres, and what the genre expectations are. So if you're going to be a romance writer, you have to have a happily ever after in the end of your story, or a happy for now. So there are certain expectations and genre conventions that you can, and tropes that are used quite often in the genres that you might want to write in. So that's something to consider. So So my fourth idea is brainstorming. So literally just put everything that pops into your head down on a piece of paper and see what flows. So you could sort of start with a swing in a playground, and then that's your setting, and then out from there where it goes. So that's always a good idea. And my final tip is to create yourself a TBR, so a to be read pile of books in the genre that you might be writing, or books about the topics. So if you are writing a historical fiction, then it might be worth reading a few historical fiction books in that about that place, or even reading some historical history books of the place. If, say, you've decided you're going to have it in the Industrial Revolution in Russia, you're going to need to have some ideas of how that works. Same with if you're writing like your comp titles. So also if you are writing, say I write dark fiction, I need to really settle in and look at the sort of dark fiction books that I like a lot of, how I like the writing, and other stories that have done a similar idea to me. At some point I would love to do a Beauty and the Beast retelling, so it would be a good idea to look at A Curse So Dark and Lonely, just because that is a Beauty and the Beast retelling. I'm just seeing if I've got any others at hand. Sleeping Beauty retelling. So I may want to, given I'm looking at doing twisted reimaginings of fairy tales and mythology, these are some books that I should probably go around to looking at for my research. But also, if you're not 100% sure on story structure in general, it may be worth picking up from the library or even Googling story structure in general, or the Save the Cat Writes a Novel beat sheet, because this would be a really good place to start. There is also an abundance of places on YouTube, on authortube, that have ideas of plot structures. If you'd like me to go through a couple of different plot structures that I like and I use, please let me know down in the comments down below, and I'll get around to doing those sooner rather than later for you in part of the Preptober and story novel writing sort of series that I'll be doing. Until then, I would love to have you on my channel, so if you're not already subscribed, please hit that little red button in the corner to do so, and tick that bell so you get notified when I post. I aim to post 2 videos a week on reading and writing related things on my self-publishing journey. Until next time, let's use our voices to promote positive change in the world. Thank you and goodbye for now!